What's going on YouTube? This is MasonAJ with the Aficionados here to bring to you our full-on spoiler review for the movie Logan. If you guys have not already checked out our spoiler-free review, with me and Alan Franco, fresh from the theater, just full-fledged nerding out all over everything we could. Be sure to check that out. Also, be sure to check out the podcast where it's me, Alan Franco, and Melly Smoke, just pretty much breaking it down, telling you guys our thoughts before we saw the movie, like weeks to months before we saw the movie, our favorite and least favorite moments, what we would have done differently, just certain story elements that we really wish could be explored. But if you're watching this, then you've already seen the movie, you already had your own thoughts, you pretty much want to hear what we have to say. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, first off the bat, I know when the movie is first announced, like when it was like still like an idea, and the fact that it was going to be rated R, a lot of people were looking like, oh my god, they're going to incorporate elements of the Old Man Logan comic book, and I was like whoa, like I don't think the world is kind of ready to see elements of the Old Man comic book. First of all, Hillbilly Rapist Hulk, Blind Hawkeye, Venom T-Rex, the Red Skull, having gouged out the eyes and murdered Captain America and like wearing the suit as a trophy as President of the United States. Like, I don't think the world's ready. I mean, mind you, I'm ready because I read the book and it was fantastic. If you haven't, go ahead. If you have not already read that book, you should go pick it up at your local comic book store. But I don't think the world is ready. And like, while there is a certain dystopian feeling shared from the comic books, as well as like the vision of Hugh Jackman as an older Logan, that's pretty much where like the similarities and homages pretty much end, outside of a couple of comic book references here and there and everything else. But those things kind of have to be in there. The movie itself, the story itself is really pretty much how it takes place in the year 2029, and no mutant has been born on Earth pretty much for like the last 30 years, and Logan is just like tired, and like this is the first time where we see Logan like not being a superhero, not saving the world, not chilling with the X-Men, not going through time and space and then whatever. He is really just like working this limo job, driving regular people around just to pay the bills, and he's just old and he's tired, and and it has a very much you guys probably, if you guys have seen the other videos, I have made this comparison where I compare it a lot to Naughty Dog's Last of Us, not only because of the dystopian feel and the old guy, the young girl, and the journey and everything else, but also with the sense that even with the way they give you information like in the movie, like they give you just enough for you to know what you need to know without going any further. In The Last of Us, you never found out like what the big, like there was a big bad, but you never really found out like epic backstories to all the characters. Like, this is this guy, this is what he's gonna do for you, oh, he's gonna try to kill you today, boom, you take him out and that's it. And that's the very much same thing with Logan. Even though we're introduced to these characters, you're introduced to them like as is. Like, even, and when they kind of break a lot of tropes when it comes to, break a lot of movie tropes a little bit when it comes to like exposition and ranting and what like I'm doing right now, and like all these like long monologue, people literally just say that I don't got time for that, I got things I gotta do. And I can't wait, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I can't wait for the YouTube channel Cinema Sins to get a hold of this movie when they can. I can't wait to see their breakdown, because I'm not gonna front, they ruined the other Wolverine movies, and like this is one scene in particular, like I had never thought about it, and then once they brought this fact, I was like, well damn, like the whole movie just feels stupid now. I mean, mind you, they weren't good movies, but now I feel like this literally was a giant waste of time. Every person in this movie literally like brings their A game, especially Patrick Stewart as Chxldz Xavier. Both Hugh Jackman and as Wolverine and Patrick Stewart as Chxldz Xavier have confirmed that this will be their last time reprising this role, reprising. This is the last time they're gonna be these characters. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. And they really do, especially considering the fact that it's been 17 years, they really do feel like two people like in character who have grown old together. And to see that Logan is pretty much using all the money he can to pretty much buy like a retirement boat or a home or whatever for Chxldz Xavier, because Chxldz Xavier has Alzheimer's. And like, and when you think about it, the world's most powerful brain with a brain degenerating disease, and it's scary to watch, because it's as scary as it is, it's equally heartbreaking, and it's even more heartbreaking because you know that there's no cure for this. There's nothing that they can do. You literally just have to ride it out, and they have their good days and their bad days, and when Chxldz Xavier has a bad day, everybody has a bad day. And you know, and this is, and as Alan Franco has said, this is one of those movies where you gotta see it in the theater. You really do, because watching at home, you won't get that you won't get that full-on surround sound for when Charles Xavier like loses his shit. Like, you feel it, and like the scenes that they show that in are really, really graphic, and they're really, really heart pounding, and like it really does get your adrenaline pumping. The two main bad guys in it, if you have to really call them bad guys at this point, is pretty much Xander Rice and Donald Pierce. And Xander Rice is pretty much the scientist who like inadvertently end up wiping out the mutant race, and he pretty much tells you like he was tinkering with genetics and everything else, and he pretty much figured out a way to correct the human genome so that way it doesn't mutate anymore. And he introduced this through the food, like all the food that we eat, like chips, fries, McDonald's, Coke, you know, all these things, you know, Powerade, everything that people eat, it's in the food, and because they're consuming it, it literally just affects them, and that's why the mutants aren't being born. And on top of that, on the other wing of his organization is Pierce, leading the Reavers like that, who have pretty much been hunting down any mutants who's still alive, like on the low, and they in turn create, you know, because at this point you gotta have it, you know, if you're gonna, it's not enough to hunt down mutants, you gotta like really like get their goat by trying to make your own mutants, and they end up making X-23, and then X-23 with X-23 and the other children, with the help of some very nice people, end up escaping, and she ends up meeting Logan, who in turn is her father / clone donor person parent. It's weird. It really is weird. And I'm not gonna like but the dynamic between them is very much in true. And for half the movie, she doesn't speak. And so it got to the point where even other characters picked up on it and they asked whether or not she was mute. And I actually didn't expect her to speak at all until the movie, for any point in the movie. And then she does, and then she starts speaking Spanish. You know, and because all the kids have pretty much been made in Mexico, so now, you know, now they're all part Hispanic, and you know, Alan Franco, you know, he's Hispanic, and he had this whole line of jokes. Like, first of all, you ever watch movies with your friends and they just start cracking jokes, and you're trying to be serious, but their jokes are funny, and you're kind of like caught between the two, like you're angry, but then you want to watch the movie, and you look like That's how it was watching the movie with him. And he had this whole line about how the movie was about the X-Men, and how now Hispanics have good representation when it comes to like being on the screen, which actually made a good point. Now that, you know, I'm gonna ask you guys this, now that X-23 has effectively canonically, or at least movie-wise, been turned into a half Hispanic character, or I guess you could say full Hispanic now? Yeah, I'm gonna go half Hispanic character. Does she now count toward Hispanic representation or for people of color, like in films? I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Is it like, nah, she ain't really, you know, it doesn't really count because she's a clone? Yeah, you know, good to see that, especially since she does in fact speak Spanish in the movie, and she speaks Spanish like, they had no subtitles, so I couldn't understand what you're saying, but everyone who spoke Spanish, they were all like, ooh, oh no, oh man, they had to like cover their ears a little bit. While the Reavers and Rice and everybody else is pursuing X-Men, we're pursuing Wolverine so they can get X-23 and everything else, I gotta bring this up because at one point in time, they introduced X-24, the perfect clone of Logan, who doesn't have a soul and everything else. And of course, you know, they got to get into it. When they get into it, it's bloody and gushing and oh, so delicious to watch. But see, for me, I pretty much say, you know, that's Dakin, you know, but a lot of other people would say, no, that's Albert, who's pretty much like a robotic clone of Wolverine. And I'm looking like, you know, and I mean, he's not called Dakin in the movie, but I'm pretty much saying like, yo, you have X-23, that's your daughter, you have Dakin, that's like your pretty much evil son, and they're going at it, and you're going at it, and you're trying to like stop and put them down. But I'm just kind of tired of Wolverine fighting like people similar to him. Like, I want to see Wolverine like fight people that like above his weight class, you know, because in X-Men 2 we had Lady Deathstrike, and then, you know, in the Wolverine movies we had Sabretooth, and actually Wolverine and X-Men movies we had Sabretooth. So at this point, I'm really kind of just tired of seeing like claws versus claws. But in this particular one, because it is rated R, when the claws come out, like it gets done. So there is one point I had to bring up. At one point in time in the movie, Logan and Professor X are running from the Reavers, and they end up getting on the highway and they're escaping, and they end up in a semi-car accident with this black family. And they help them as best they can, and then the black family, being kind, nice, good people, like, hey, yeah, come to dinner with us. And Logan is like, nope, I gotta go. And Chxldz is like, nah, dinner would be nice. And literally, I'm looking like, why did Xavier just murder this family? Like, Xavier, you got people coming for you, dog, and you want to stop and eat some fried chicken, and mashed potatoes and cornbread. Mind you, that sounds delicious. Now I'm hungry. but I'm saying is, the second he said that, I knew the black family was gonna get got, and they do. And they did get got so dirty. Like, for these to be such good people, it's like, damn, man, like, you really feel bad. Like, this didn't need to happen. And I'm gonna be honest with you, as a black man, I'm looking like, why do black people gotta get killed in the movie? Why they gotta get killed? Why couldn't we have just left them alone, got back in our car, and just drove off? No, Chxldz Xavier, this is all your fault. Okay, I know technically X-24, Robot Evil, Clone Wolverine killed them, but still I blame Chxldz Xavier for wanting that fried chicken with them 11 herbs and spices and all that goodness, because he was hungry. Okay, I'm sorry. But they did introduce me, with the black family, they did introduce me to my favorite moment in the movie, which is, well, at one point in time, there was this posse of like ranchers and farmhands who get together, and this happened in the movie theater. So I'm watching, I'm in the movie, and later on I found the full story, where a woman had lost her cell phone. So she had went outside, she asked the orderly to come help her find her cell phone because she couldn't find it, right? So he's coming through with a flashlight and like that, and right as he gets to me, all you hear is, get on over here, boy. Malcolm, come out here right now. And I was so engrossed in the movie, I started to get up, I'm like, yo, like, what the f you say to me, son? And then I realized that it wasn't the movie ticket person, it was the movie, and I had to like kind of be like, yeah, I had to adjust my seat a little bit, like that. Got a little bit embarrassed a little bit. The movie is brutal, and the setting is set fantastically, and the cinematography done by the director are on point, and it very much is a modern day, for all intents and purposes, it's a very much modern day Western movie, and the themes hit home, and even they even like acknowledge it in the film, and I really appreciate the fact that you can tell that a lot of work went into each and every scene, but that's kind of the problem, because all the work went into each and every scene, and almost no scene feels wasted. You can kind of feel like, oh, yo, hey, this is like a 2-hour long movie, and then we gotta wrap it up. And then I feel like the director was like, do you think Fox will let us make a 4-hour long movie? Because I got a lot more stuff to say. And they had to be like, nah, dog. So the entire second half of the movie feels really, really rushed compared to like the beautiful set pieces and the beautiful setup that the first half gave us. And next thing you know, it's over. And mind you, it's a very satisfying conclusion. Logan goes out like a G, and he ends up saving the children, and he dies like an epic hero, finally having the hope and love and of the family that he's always wanted, but still, like, it felt a little bit rushed. And because we didn't have a chance to get emotionally invested, or at least mad at the bad guys, like when they died, they literally got exactly what they had coming to them. When they died, it was like, oh, okay, check, bad guy died, we're about to end right now. But the feels get you so hard when Professor Xavier dies, from getting stabbed in the chest nonetheless, and the look of horror on his face just jerks you. When X-23, feels like she's alone in the world now, that jerks you. When Hugh Jackman is like, and he's enraged, and then he gets old and he limps, that jerks you. Like, this whole movie does nothing but just jerk your feelings around, like, forgive that hand motion. And that's pretty much what it is. Like, all like I said, I give this movie like a 9.1 out of 2. It really did feel like this is the first step of comic book movies and superhero movies growing up and becoming good films and not just popcorn action movies. Also, I hope this opens up the door to other films, taking note of what they did here and trying to like set that bar higher for themselves. And even if you disagree with everything I said, we also still got that pretty funny Deadpool 2 trailer in it, and like that. And at this point in time, this was an excellent send-off to both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman as these characters. But you know what else? Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of the movie. Let me know your favorite parts. Let me know your least favorite parts. Let me know like what other rated R what other characters would you like to see me made into rated R movies? Like if you had the budget and the time and you could pen the script, like what would you like to see? Like who would you like to see? Me personally, I would love to see. I know this is tired and true. I would love to see like a rated R like Batman movie, like a full-on like, nah, we're gonna get into Batman. That's just me. But also hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Like, come on, like nerd talk with us. Let's have a nerdy conversation all day, every day. Whether you know you want to talk to me, you know, Alan Franco, Little Ren, it doesn't matter. You know, just full-fledged. Let's get the nerd talks going. Anyway, this is MasonAJ with the Aficionados, and I gotta say, Logan, A1.